Okay, let's start. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitam Astu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. May the Supreme Spirit protect us. May the Supreme Spirit nourish us. May we work together with great energy. May our study be vigorous and fruitful. May love and harmony dwell amongst us. Om. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. Om. Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. Lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from death to immortality. O peace, peace, peace be unto all. So, is my audio all right? Sound quality? Okay, thank you. Thank you. So, we are now undoubtedly passing through a uncertain time. Just the other day, I was looking uh, at a report or a poll which was conducted by the American Psychiatric Association. And according to the poll, more than one-third of Americans report that coronavirus is having a serious impact on their mental health. 19% reported having trouble sleeping. 57% of the adults were concerned about the negative impact of COVID on their finance, and 68% of Americans fear that the coronavirus will have a long-lasting impact on the economy. Add to that the continuous news of protests that are going through all over the country, initially littered with incidents of rioting, then heavy-handed dealing of those protesters by the law enforcement officers, which evoked widespread anger, sadness, frustration among all of us. So altogether, in combination, this is a perfect recipe for uncertainty. And media, social media, and some media outlets also oversimplify some matters and amplify the loudest and angriest voice, and thus increasing the experience of a threat that is looming before us. This is uncertainty. Uncertainty happens when the familiar ground beneath our feet shifts, when things are in a state of flux, when nobody knows what is going to happen next, how things will play out, and how the new normal will look like when the dust settles. And this uncertainty is going to stay with us for quite some time. And when this uncertainty is over, it will be replaced by other uncertainties. So uncertainty will always remain with us. Now the question is, uncertainty is not the problem. The fear of uncertainty. Why we really do fear uncertainty. Why we become anxious about uncertain things. It turns out that we are hardwired, as they call it in biology, hardwired to be anxious about uncertain, unpredictable situations. Blame it to our limbic system, especially the amygdala part of the brain, which becomes highly alert when we perceive some uncertain situation, unpredictable situation. And we respond, the limbic system prepare us to respond to that uncertain situation with flight, fight, or freeze. These three types of responses we get. And when it is irrational, then trouble happens. When we become anxious about seemingly irrational, due to irrational fear of uncertainty, then the trouble begins. Some amount of fear is good. Some amount of anxiety about future is good. Evolution endowed us with this fear, about a healthy amount of fear for future, so that we can be prepared and we can take preventive action about our future course of action. But when it is too much, then it becomes a trouble. Why little bit of or healthy amount of anxiety about uncertainty is good? For example, take the case of public speaking, which is one of the most feared or scary things people report about. One of the, I think, one of the top 5 scary things to people is public speaking. But they find that little a healthy amount of anxiety about public speaking is good. It prepares, it brings some seriousness on the part of the speaker, so that speaker can convert that anxiety about public speaking into meaningful preparation, so that when the speaker is delivering something, it is really something important he is or she is delivering to people, because the speaker is taking so many human hours. So they should be prepared well when they are giving a public speech. And healthy anxiety in this case helps. Similarly, we have seen that in many cases, healthy little bit of rational fear is good. That makes us cautious or help us to take preventive action. But irrational fear about uncertain times, or too much of fear about uncertain times, is like muscle atrophy. We know that if we don't use a muscle for quite some time, the range of motion of that muscle is impaired. The range of motion of that muscle is impaired. The muscle loses its flexibility. In the same way, if we are afraid to deal with uncertainty, if we are afraid to take the risk of facing the uncertain times, our mental capacity or mental flexibility also is impaired. That is not a good thing, like muscle atrophy. And Too much fear about uncertain times also cloud our thinking, and we overlook or we miss the opportunity that the possibilities uncertain times bring before us. Uncertain times also bring many opportunities for our growth. That also we miss if we are too much afraid to face uncertain times or uncertainty. Take the example of Swami Vivekananda. He was so much uncertain about coming to Chicago, World Parliament of Religion. He did not know where he would stay. He did not carry any letter of introduction. He did not know whom to contact. And with little belongings or clothing, he came in the severe winter of Chicago, landed and did not know where to stay, whom to meet. So he had he not chosen to face these uncertain times, what would have happened? He would not have come to USA. He would not have given his remarkable speech in the World Parliament of Religions. Vedanta societies would not have been there, and we would not have been here today meeting together. In the same way, in my short life, also I have found that every time I have chose to face the uncertain time, it was an opportunity for my growth. All the time, although in my short life and uneventful life, whatever I have seen, that every time there was an uncertain situation, unfamiliar situation, and I chose to go with the uncertainty, I got opportunities for my personal growth. It is true for all of us. If we look back, that we grew most during uncertain times. In fact, most of the inventions or great events happen during uncertain times. So the point is, uncertainty is not bad. Being afraid of uncertainty in healthy amount is good, but when we are too much afraid to face, so that we freeze to take any decision in the face of uncertainty, or we are afraid that our decision may lead to failure, then it becomes problematic. We miss opportunity for our personal growth. So what is at the heart of uncertainty? It appears that uncertainty is not knowing about the future, right? But is it true only not knowing is the cause of fear? Many things we don't know. For example, we are going to a restaurant and we don't know really what we are going to eat today. We'll go and choose, then we shall eat. So not knowing as such is not the problem. If we go little deeper, it appears that the changes that uncertainty entails, that is the cause of our fear. There will be a change. But really, if we go little deeper again, it is not the change that is the cause of problem, cause of fear. It is our resistance to change. It is our fighting the change that is the cause of real trouble. All of us know, if we look or if we analyze little deeply, that the pain of anticipating failure is much more the pain of failure itself. When we fail or when we face a change, the pain is not so much as the pain associated with anticipation of the failure or anticipation of the change. So that is the heart of the problem, that when we resist change, we want to be, we want to remain surrounded by familiar things, familiar people, familiar places, familiar routine. What they call, we want to remain in our comfort zone, or the cocoon of familiarity that we build around ourselves, the bubble of familiarity that we build around ourselves. We want to remain in that. And this is, according to Buddhism or according to yoga, is called clinging. Clinging to familiar things, people, events, places, routines, situations, sometimes even holding on to an idea. We resist or we fight to change an idea that idea may be flawed itself, but we hold on to the idea and don't want to change. We have some idea that the future should be like this, which might be flawed, but we do resist even the change which might change our idea about future. So this is problem of clinging, and in yoga this is called abhinivesha, the clinging to the familiar things. Although mostly in yoga sutras, this abhinivesha is translated as clinging to life, but I find the deeper meaning is clinging to familiar things. When we see that we are about to lose our familiar ground, we feel like we are going to die. So this clinging is abhinivesha, remains at the heart of the problem, why we fear uncertainty. Now, if this is the problem, what we can do about that? How we can be comfortable with uncertainty? So it appears to me that it's a problem. It's what we need is a change of perspective. A change of, they say, a change, the difference between despair and hope reside in a change of perspective. So we need to change our perspective about uncertainty. What are the changes that we need? Number one, as we saw, the root problem of fearing uncertainty is our clinging to familiar things. Now, Vedanta says that in this entire universe, apart from the witness, the consciousness, everything is impermanent. Everything is changing. And that they call anitya. Anitya means which does not remain constant. Everything is changing. Some things are changing slowly, some change happening fast, and we know this, we noticed it, but we tend to relate to these familiar things as though they are permanent or they should remain permanent. So this discrepancy, that things are in fact things, people, events, places, ideas, all by their nature are impermanent, but we are trying to think, where we are trying to relate to them in such a way that they are as if permanent. This discrepancy, seeing or attributing permanence to impermanent things, according to Vedanta, is the root of suffering. That is why in yoga, Abhinivesha, or clinging to familiar things, are called one of the troublemakers, one of the afflictions, or one of the kleshas. One of the five troublemakers which torment us, one of them is this clinging to familiar things. So, as change is the only certain thing in this universe, so also we may say that one thing which is certain is uncertainty. This uncertainty is a everyday phenomenon. We are just not paying attention to that. Everything is really, nothing is certain, everything is uncertain. So if this is the case, what we should do? First of all, when we fear uncertainty, we feel anxious about facing the uncertain future, uncertain event, uncertain circumstances. Let us take a step back and try to see what really we are trying to cling to, trying to be aware of our clinging. What are the things that we are resisting or fighting to change? This is the first step, being aware of our clinging. Then we need to see the pain in clinging to the familiar. How? For example, we have many things in our houses which we don't use anymore. And we know that we are not going to use it anytime soon or ever probably. But since they are familiar, we keep them with us. They require space, they require maintenance, they require our energy. So seeing similarly in the same way, seeing the pain in clinging to the familiar. What pain? The pain of clinging to the familiar is it limits our possibilities. Limit our possibilities. The more we remain attached or try to hold on to familiar things, the lesser become our possibilities for future growth. This fact we need to contemplate very deeply. And once we contemplate it, then something important happens. Then we see that life itself is an opportunity for continuous growth. Continuous growth. And this may happen only when we let go of the familiar. Let go of the familiar and embrace or face the unfamiliar one. There are two mentalities, they say. One is growth mentality or growth mindset, and fixed mindset. So people with fixed mindset, they think that our capabilities, our abilities, our talents, all are fixed. We have certain limit of them, and what we were born with, that is a fixed thing. But the growth mentality people, they think that our capabilities, our abilities, our talents are malleable to our effort. So everything we can improve upon once if we put right amount of effort. And this mentality has been found extremely beneficial in school children. If we encourage such a mentality or mindset to the children, they have found that children become much accomplished, much more, and they also enjoy what they are doing. A, two psychologists did a research and demonstrated with fifth graders that fifth grade students, a single sentence how can change the students' performance. So those who could perform a task, they were first told, some of them were told, you could do it because you are smart, because you are intelligent. And some others were told that you could do it because you tried, you put effort into it. And later on, they found those who are told that you could do it because you are smart, because you are intelligent, were anxious to take risk or solve other kind of problem, because the signal they are sending to them, their mind, is that I am smart at this, probably I will not be smart at that, which is counterproductive. But those children who were told that with effort, with right amount of effort, you can do anything, they could take the challenges much more openly, and they were also very happy in solving the problems. So probably that is why in educational field, they are telling now the greatest thing that we can tell our children is that praise them for their effort, not to label them as smart and intelligent with these words, because that creates a fixed mindset. I am smart, so I am good at these things. So if I try all the other things which I don't know, probably I may not appear smart. I may not appear intelligent if I fail. So that becomes counterproductive in their for their growth. So this is what we need to do. We need to adopt a growth mentality. That is taking life or taking everything as an experience, as an opportunity to grow. The attitude should be, let's see what is in store. Let us take every occasion as an opportunity for growth. And you know what? Over the years, I I have been thinking about what spirituality is. And this definition of spirituality is, in my mind, in my own perception, changing every time over the years. And now I find that the spirituality is can also be seen as a quest for personal growth. Spirituality is a quest for personal growth. In whatever way we grow personally, we grow, we may say that itself is spirituality. And I was very happy when, just last week I was trying to see that what modern research speaks about spirituality. They say that there are 10 dimensions of spirituality. They have invented or created a spiritual well-being inventory. They have done a really good job in Cleveland University about what are the universal aspects of spirituality. They have tried to identify the what are the common dimensions of spirituality which is applicable to all religion, all race, people of all type, all variety, which we can say these are the universal dimensions of spirituality. One of them is the knowing learning dimension of spirituality. That is a continuous lifelong quest or effort to know ourself. Growing, that is, knowing more clearly what we are. Self awareness, as they call it, trying to evolve our self awareness, trying to be aware about ourselves more and more with the passage of time, and also trying to be aware or knowing about people, about the world. This continuous growth, knowing, learning dimension of spirituality. That is a growth mentality. And I said, I say sometimes that spiritual life itself is a series of small awakenings. It is not that spiritual life is just one big awakening, or it is not. If you have only a big awakening, then only you are spiritual, and that is all about spirituality, and otherwise not. This notion is not correct. Spiritual life itself is a series of small awakenings, small perspectives that we gain on our own without the help of anybody. Maybe things, people, ideas, great teachers, they might have contributed to this growth or these awakenings, but this happens within ourselves. It comes to us suddenly like a crystal clear idea, fine morning, and this is not what a something big awakening, but a small changes of perspective, gaining clarity about life, about world, or spiritual life itself. This series of small awakenings, and I have seen that often these small awakenings happen in during uncertain times, not when we are certain about everything, not when we are very much in our comfort zone, but when we have just stepped out or taken a baby step out of our comfort zone, then these small awakenings happen. This growth mentality about life, that life itself is a series of growth. It is not something fixed, that uncertain times is also an opportunity for growth. Let us face it. Let us see what happens. If I fail, that also will be a lesson. If I don't perform well as the situation demands, that also is an experience. That also is a process of growth. If we just can have only this attitude, this mentality, or this insight about our life, that life itself is a continuous process of growth, this is totally a liberating. Then we are not so much anxious about uncertain things. We are not so much anxious about our decision, because wrong decisions also we may take as a opportunity to grow, an opportunity for growth. Any decision involves risk, but you know we should do planning, and depending upon the information that we have in our hand, or what is most in our hand, we try to do. And most importantly, I find that we should aim for a good enough decision, a good enough performance, a good enough anything you take. Then these uncertain times, these challenges become a source of joy. If we think of always we have to be perfect, always we have to take the best decision, then it creates anxiety in us. Rather, we should look for good enough, good enough decision, good enough performance. Say, in a scale of 10, let us try for 8 or 8.5. Otherwise, the problem with the perfect problem of perfectionism is what? Perfectionism shows us to see the world in black and white terms. Things are either good or not good. But reality is not like that. Reality is a graded thing. Everything is graded. 10 may be the best, but if we adopt to a perfectionist mentality that we have to be perform, we have to succeed all the time, our decision should be perfect. What happens is what we project mentally to be the perfect, other than that, everything becomes to the scale of 0. So there becomes the world becomes binary. Either it is good or it is bad. Either it is black or it is white. That is, they say, a great source of anxiety in our life. And that is also true for when we do have such kind of expectation for future. Then we become more afraid about uncertain times, more afraid to take challenge, more afraid to become to fail. We are afraid to fail. So the first lesson is probably this, that we should be aware of our clinging and try to contemplate the pain in holding on to the familiar, and how holding on to the familiar really limit our possibilities, and then to adopt. And it does not happen in a night. It's a lifelong process of changing our perspective, or adopting to switching from a fixed mentality to a growth mentality. The life itself, spiritual life itself, is a series of growth, or is a continuous quest for personal growth. And let us that can happen when we remain open to all kinds of challenges And when we can take every experience as an opportunity for growth. Life itself is an opportunity for growth. Then this becomes easy when we have inner poise that we told earlier too, an inner poise. That is, if we have an spiritual center of gravity from which we can, from the certainty of which, from the firm ground of which we can face the uncertain things, uncertain times. This is called inner poise that really develops with spiritual practices. With daily practices, we become more and more convinced about our spiritual nature, that we have a spiritual core deep within, which is unshakable. In the midst of all the flux happening around us, in the midst of all the uncertain things, events, there is one certain thing that is deep within, the Atman, which always abides. Then we have such a thing called inner freedom. Then what happens, that we feel secure and happy, not because of external conditions, but in spite of external conditions. A inner freedom we develop when we become convinced, we develop a certain amount of conviction about that unshakable ground that is within us, the unshakable center of gravity. Vedanta speaks about Atman, and devotees feel that way, the God sitting within us, who is always accessible, always present. With that security, we can face the uncertain times, uncertain events in a more secure way. As an example, I always think of Holy Mother Sarada Devi. Holy Mother Sarada Devi's life is an example of how to face uncertainty. Her life is full of a saga of facing uncertainties with a spiritual inner poise. Take the example of the famous example of her meeting a highwayman, a robber. We cannot imagine in today's situation. Suppose we are visiting or driving to an unknown territory and our GPS is not working. We don't know ETA, our estimated time of arrival. The entire territory is known to us. We are told that this place is very unsafe. People are often robbed and looted here. Imagine it is dark. You are not even in the car. You are walking alone and crossing such a territory. That is what happened with Holy Mother Sarada Devi. She was walking from Kamarpukur to Dakshineshwar, Calcutta. And walking on those days, they had to walk for 2-3 days from village of Kamarpukur to Dakshineshwar, Kolkata. So Holy Mother, along with her few companions, were walking, and along their way there was a huge field called Telo Velo. Telo Velo's field. Telo and Velo were two notorious robbers, highwaymen. And this place were known for having many robbers and highwaymen who tried to snatch people's property and sometimes even kill them. So Holy Mother, with her companions, when they were passing through that field, Holy Mother was a bit exhausted. She was walking a bit slowly. So her companions felt alarmed. They thought that if we walk at this pace, we may not be able to cross this dangerous place before the evening. So night it may be already dark. So they asked Holy Mother to speed up. Holy Mother understood that for her they were having inconvenience. So she said, "Don't worry about me. You may please go ahead, walk fast. I shall catch up with you later on." But Holy Mother could not, and she lost her way, and it was already dark. Imagine the situation. It's dark kind of forest, Holy Mother alone, a village girl. Yeah, a village young lady. I what could be her age at that time? Probably hardly she was an adult. And dark, and suddenly a highwayman comes before Holy Mother and asks, "Who is there? Who goes?" Holy Mother, like a simple child with full of trust, she said, "Father." She addressed the person as Father. "Father, my companions have left me behind. I have lost my way. Can you please take me to my destination?" So the highwayman was taken aback. Instead of getting afraid, she is addressing him as Father, and having put complete trust on him, asking him to lead her the way. After some time, the wife of that robber also comes there, and Holy Mother says, "Mother, I am your daughter Sarada. I have lost my way. Can you please help me?" With such simplicity, she approached these people. Anybody would have frozen in front of them, but Holy Mother, with complete trust and with open mindedness, put so much trust on them. They took them, they took her to a shop, purchased food for her, prepared meal for her for the night, kept her with them, and in the morning they escorted her to her destination. So this is how, being grounded in that inner poise, one can face uncertain situations. Not only that, even afterwards, as I said, Holy Mother's life is full of uncertainty. When she was in Nahavat, in Dakshineshwar, she might have just finished cooking for, say, 10 people. 5 more people might have arrived. And Sri Ramakrishna too would send someone to Holy Mother and say, 5 more people have come. Holy Mother will start again cooking. So entire day was totally uncertain how many people will for how many people she has to cook for. Sometimes at night, maybe at around 10 p.m., when she was about to go to her bed, someone like Girish Chandra Ghosh would appear. at Dakshineshwar. And Sri Ramakrishna would send a message to Holy Mother, look, Girish Chandra has come, cook something for him. Holy Mother too, see how much uncertain, right? And Holy Mother too, without being at all perturbed, will try to cook something which Girish Ghosh would like. If it was Swami Vivekananda, it was used to be thick lentil, which Swami Vivekananda liked. So Holy Mother not only did not feel perturbed, but lovingly did all those things. Plus, later on in her life, in Udbodhan and Jairambati, everywhere, it's full of uncertainties. Her eccentric relatives like Radhu and others, nobody knew what a scene they will create. Nobody knew what their eccentric relatives will demand or do, but she was always unperturbed because of this inner poise. This is very important. So, in sum, we said that this is an uncertain situation or an uncertain time that we are passing through, and this uncertainty will remain for quite some time. And when that uncertainty will be gone, it will be replaced by other uncertainties. So we better learn to know, we learn how to be comfortable with uncertainty. So having fear about uncertainty in itself is not bad. Some amount of fear is healthy, which prepare us for the future. But when the fear is irrational or too much, it restricts our possible future growth and also clouds our thinking about the possibilities that uncertain times may bring for us. And fear of uncertainty is rooted in our deep clinging for the familiar. This is called abhinivesha. And we need to be aware of that we are attached to, we are firmly, we feel firmly rooted to a few familiar things we don't want to let go, and that is, according to Vedanta, is the heart of the problem, because everything is impermanent, but we are attributing permanence to them. This discrepancy is at the root of problem. And when we look deeply to our clinging, be aware of our clinging, we need to adopt a growth mentality, which says that life is a opportunity. So life is a continuous opportunity for growth. Every experience is an experience, every experience is an opportunity for growth, can be taken as an opportunity for growth. Let us face everything open mindedly with the idea that let us try to see how much we can do, or what is in the store. Spiritual life itself can be said as a continuous quest for personal growth, and these uncertain times can be dealt with in a better way if we have an inner poise, which is a spiritual quality that comes from the conviction that in the midst of all the whirlpool, all the flux, all the uncertainty, there is something which is very secure, very certain within all of us. And having that firm ground, terra firma, we can face the uncertainties in a way which contributes to our growth. Finally, I would like to conclude my talk with a story. And if you forget everything about my talk today, remember this story. The more we look deeply into nature of things, it appears that it is superficial to reject some experiences and try to hold on to others. It is better to accept the wholeness of life. The problem with change, why we resist change, is we don't want certain type of experiences. We think those experiences probably would not be good, which we are really bad in predicting about. But the idea remains that we don't want some type of experiences and want only some other type of experiences. But the it is better to accept the wholeness of life. This is a story of a farmer and his son. In a village, there was a farmer and his son who did have a ranch. So they used to do work in the ranch, grow crops. So they had a neighbor. The neighbor came one day and said, "How nice it would be if you had a horse. If you only had a horse, how easier it would have been for you." The farmer said, "Good, bad, who knows?" So after some time, they found that a wild horse has really come to their ranch, and it is not going away anywhere. It is remaining around the ranch only, within the ranch. So the neighbor came and said, "Wow, good luck, you have got a horse now." The farmer said, "Good luck, bad luck, who knows?" Then the farmer's son tried to domesticate the horse and domesticated it. It was really a help for them. One day, while riding the horse, the farmer's son fell down, slipped down from the horse and broke his leg. The neighbor came and said, "Oh, the horse was not a good luck, it seems. It's a bad luck. Because of this horse, your son broke his leg." The farmer said, "Good luck, bad luck, who knows? Let us see." So after just a few days, there was a war between two countries, and the army came marching through the villages, requiring every adult youth to go to war. Must, it was mandatory. But when they came to the farmer's house, they saw the son had a broken leg. He was limping. Then they said, "Okay, you need not go to war." Then the neighbor came and said, "Wow, it's a good luck. It appears that it's a good luck. Because of the horse, your son did not have to go to the war." But then, although his legs, he recovered from the wound, there was a minor limping that remained, that did not go away. Then the neighbor said, "Oh no, it is really a bad luck. That limping remained permanently." And the farmer said, "Good luck, bad luck, who knows?" And after some time, the news came that all the villagers that were sent from that particular village in the war, all of them died, except this person who could not go because he was limping and he had a broken leg. Then the neighbor came and said, Well, it appears to be a really good luck the horse brought to you. And the farmer again told, good luck, bad luck, who knows? The moral of this story is often we find or think that a particular experience would not be good for us, a particular outcome will not be good for us, only a preferred outcome is what we are seeking. But if we look from a larger perspective, really we cannot say what is really good and what is really bad. Sometimes what we think will be a good outcome does not appear to be so. Sometimes which we think would not be a good experience, would not be a good outcome, appears to have a altogether different meaning in shaping our life for better. So the point is, let us be open and try to face uncertain times with as much courage and openness as possible, with this conviction that there is one certainty within each of us which remains permanent. Even things, events, and people around us change, and or even when the things are in a state of flux. Thank you. So let us chant the closing chant, then I can take a few questions or interact with you, or if you like to comment, you are welcome to comment. Okay, this is the closing chant. Let us chant together. Om Madhubataritaayate Madhuksharanti Sindhavaha Madhiirna Santoshadhihi Madhunaktam Utoshasi Madhumatparthivagam Rajaha Madhudvau Astuna Pita Madhumano Vanaspatir Madhumagam Astu Suryaha Madhvirgavo Bhavantu Naha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sweet blow the winds, and the oceans give forth blessedness. May the herbs and plants bring us health and happiness. Sweet unto us be the nights and dawns. May every particle of Mother Earth be charged with blessing. May the heavens shower us with benediction. Sweet unto us be the noble forest trees. Sweet unto us be the shining sun. Sweet unto us be all living creation. Om, sweetness, harmony, peace.